As to the early history of his theological views, I can add something to what has been already published. In Mr. Swindle's household there was a faithful old servant, a big, sturdy woman, who was well known to me and all the inmates as cook. She was a woman of strong religious feelings and a devout Calvinist. Spurgeon, when under deep religious conviction, had conversed with her and been deeply impressed with her views of divine truth. He explained this to me and told me, in his own terse fashion, that it was Cook who had taught him his theology. I hope I am not violating his confidence in mentioning this fact. It is no discredit to the memory of a great man that he was willing to learn from the humblest sources. When the above article appeared in print, Mr. Robert Mattingly of Great Conard, Sudbury, wrote to the same paper. About 25 years ago, I became acquainted with a person referred to Mary King by name. She was then living in cottage lodgings facing St. Margaret's Church, Ipswich, and was a member of the Bethesda Strict Baptist Church close by. She was a staunch Calvinist, logical, clear-headed, and had a wonderful knowledge of the Bible. I have often heard from her lips the account of her intercourse with the youthful Spurgeon, of which she was naturally not a little proud, as he had then attained the height of his marvellous popularity. Professor Everett said she was known as Cook. She always spoke of herself as housekeeper, and as the intercourse between Mr. Spurgeon and herself seemed to be quite within the order of the household, she probably occupied something more than a menial position. During my acquaintance with her, I learned that she had outlived all, or nearly all, of a small income. I do not remember from what source. I wrote to Mr. Spurgeon, acquainting him with the facts, and received from him a prompt reply, thanking me for my letter, sending a hearty greeting to his old friend, and with characteristic generosity he enclosed a cheque for £5, with a request that I would minister to her immediate necessities, pay her 5 shillings a week, and generally use my discretion in dispensing the amount in his behalf. This I did, and reported to Mr. Spurgeon from time to time, always receiving a fresh cheque when the fund in hand became exhausted, and this was continued until her death about 3 years later. Professor Everett has kindly transcribed from his journal all the entries relating to Mr. Spurgeon while at Newmarket. Most of the matters mentioned are not of general public interest, but the two following items are worthy of preservation in this volume. Monday, September the 10th, 1849. In the afternoon, the missionary meeting began. Mr. Spurgeon was made chairman. This was a meeting of the boys in the schoolroom. I believe it was the first time Mr. Spurgeon ever made a speech. He spoke fluently. Tuesday, October the 9th. After dinner, I took Percy and 4 other boys to see the races. The César Witch, the most celebrated race at Newmarket. 31 horses ran. We also saw 4 other races. I saw quite enough to gratify my curiosity, and did not wish to stop to see any more races. Mr. Spurgeon did not go, as he thought he should be doing wrong if he went. Chapter 8. A Holiday Pastime. Essay on Popery. I knew a lad in Christ who adopted the principle of giving a tenth to God when he won a money prize for an essay on a religious subject. He felt he could not give less than 1/5 of it. He had never after that been able to deny himself the pleasure of having a fifth to give. God had wonderfully blessed that lad and increased his means and his enjoyment of the luxury of luxuries, the luxury of doing good. Charles Haddon Spurgeon. In the library at Westwood, very carefully preserved, is a bound volume containing 295 manuscript pages, lettered on the back, Spurgeon's Popery Unmasked. On the front outside cover is a red leather label with the following words printed upon it in gold letters thus: Antichrist and her brood, or Popery Unmasked, by C.H.Spurgeon, AETAT.15. Written in the November and December of 1849 as a kind of holiday amusement, and sent to Messrs. Ward and Co.'s on occasion of a competition for a prize offered by Mr. Morley of Nottingham. Although the writer had scarcely a distant prospect of success, he received 2 years after the following note: Popular, London, December the 23rd, 1851. Dear Sir, you were one of the competitors for a prize to be awarded for an approved essay on Popery. Your paper is not deemed entitled to the premium, but the gentleman who offered it, and who is a relative of mine, in an approval of your zeal, and in the hope that you may yet employ your talents for the public good, had requested me to offer you X amount of pounds as a gratuity. If you'll tell me how you wish the money to be sent, it shall be conveyed to you, and your MS shall be returned in any way you direct. I remain yours truly, G. Smith. On the opposite page is a facsimile of Mr. Spurgeon's own account of the origin of the volume, and of its appreciation by Mr. Morley, whose Christian name is made known in the second letter from Mr. Smith, who was at that time Congregational Minister at Poplar, and who, on August the 16th, 1859, met the young essayist, and took part with him in the services held in connection with the laying of the first stone of the Metropolitan Tabernacle.